In my perspective, the primary source of confusion surrounding Cesar Millan stems from his work as a dog behaviorist specializing in extreme cases.
You go, hey, hey,
Oh,
with
okay.
a nervous dog,
Yeah.
you're gonna create that.
Oh, okay.
Cesar Millan was once a powerful global icon possessing a magical ability to tame the most aggressive dogs with just a forceful gaze. Behind the magical footage on National Geographic, however, a television empire quietly collapsed under suspicious circumstances. The unexpected disappearance of Dog Whisperer marked the climax of a series of prolonged disasters, waves of criticism from experts, serious legal troubles, and extreme personal tragedy. Right now, let us peel back the raw truth regarding the exorbitant price of fame.
First, you have to remove this pent-up energy you have already. So you gotta do detox.
Yeah.
So, can you get the bike?
In 1990, Cesar Millan arrived in the United States from Culiacan, Mexico, with a mere $100 and a firm belief that he would become the world's best dog trainer. His immigration journey was not a smooth trip, but a brutal period of survival at the border. During his early days in San Diego, the young man had nowhere to sleep. Working in dog kennels and accepting shared space with animals considered dangerous, just to have a place to stay overnight. While many feared dogs abandoned by their owners, Cesar found peace. He realized that rather than using whips or harsh commands, controlling an animal depends on internal energy. He believed humans often unintentionally transmit anxiety or fear to pets, creating unwanted consequences. In an interview with the New York Times, he asserted, "The dog does not care about your language. They care about the energy you radiate in the space. If you are not calm, they will not submit." This approach quickly made him famous among the elite in Los Angeles, where wealthy owners were stuck with uncontrollable pets. Cesar's career truly turned a new page when he met actress Jada Pinkett Smith. After witnessing Cesar successfully handle a difficult case, she became an important mentor, urging him to learn English to spread his message further. Consequently, Dog Whisperer was born on National Geographic in 2004, turning him into a global star. Behind that brilliant aura, the first cracks began to appear. Professionals started questioning the pack leader method, the dominance model he borrowed from wolf behavior in nature. According to them, imposing power to suppress dogs is not the most humane way. The conflict between Cesar's philosophy and modern behavioral science became sharper when he faced difficult practical situations. On set, he always maintained a cold, calm exterior, even when facing animals in a state of loss of control. He always reminded his associates, "Do not look at their appearance. Look at the soul that is craving to be led." Critics argued that behind those dramatic scenes lay a heavy mental imposition. They claimed that controlling dogs by touching sensitive areas on their bodies was not a truly safe method. Controversies started simmering, not just on a small scale, but spreading to major veterinary community forums. Everything became more complex when Cesar started being accused of creating negative impacts on the mental state of animals in sensitive conditions. Unfortunate incidents, even if kept quiet or downplayed in the media, started being whispered like warnings. The difference between an instinctual master and a standard training expert became increasingly evident, paving the way for fiercer storms ahead. Rumors started spreading, signaling a stormy future for the empire he spent his youth building. Waves of protest. When Dog Whisperer reached its peak in 2006, skepticism from the scientific community ceased to be whispers in laboratories and exploded into an open battle. Dr. Nicholas Dodman, a leading expert on animal behavior at Tufts University, sent a stern, open letter to the network accusing the program of disrupting progress in humane training for decades. He emphasized that Cesar Millan's method was based on false assumptions about wolf behavior, which had long been rejected by modern biologists. In articles in The Washington Post Experts repeatedly warned that forcing dogs into a state of submission through fear would only make behavioral problems worse in the long term. Pressure increased when the Humane Society of the United States officially requested the program be taken off the air, arguing that techniques displayed on screen were inhumane and caused harmful misunderstandings for pet owners worldwide. They argued that meticulously edited scenes deceived the audience, concealing the extreme stress dogs had to endure during filming. Responding to those accusations, Cesar Millan remained resolute. In a rare interview regarding professional controversies, he asserted, "People judge from textbooks, while I judge from the scars on my hands. In a situation facing an animal ready to cause harm, you cannot sit there to discuss behavioral theory." This disagreement did not stop at academic debates, but transformed Dog Whisperer into a focal point of public division. Reputable veterinary organizations began issuing joint statements warning the public against applying dominance techniques without expert supervision. Terms like negative energy or state of submission, which were Cesar's trademarks, were now dismantled and analyzed by the scientific community as baseless concepts. This opposition created a stifling atmosphere surrounding all production activities of the program, as every move of the trainer was placed under the strict scrutiny of the media and animal welfare advocates. Although audience numbers remained at staggering levels, the Whisperer's credibility started shaking from within. Major sponsors sensitive to issues related to animal welfare started asking difficult questions of the production team. They feared that brand image would be damaged if they continued to be associated with increasingly intense criticism from scholars. The rigidity in Cesar's training mindset, which was the anchor for his initial success, now became a trap, making it difficult for him to adapt to changes in ethical standards in modern society. Those heated controversies were only the prelude to a series of haunting legal events waiting ahead. Skepticism not only wore down his reputation, but also forced him to face heavy consequences from the very methods that had brought him to the pinnacle of glory. Vortex. By 2012, academic controversies over Cesar Millan's training methods had shifted strongly toward legal troubles, putting direct pressure on the business foundation of Dog Whisperer. A notable lawsuit filed in Los Angeles in 2012 shocked the media when a dog owner accused their pet of suffering serious injuries during filming for the show. The plaintiff argued that under Millan's control, the animal was pushed into a state of panic, leading to irreversible physical damage. The lawsuit not only attracted the attention of television content regulatory agencies, but also set a dangerous precedent for animal reality shows, which previously had always been protected by complex liability waiver agreements. This event opened a new wave of oversight from animal safety control agencies. Scenes in later episodes started being systematically trimmed to avoid revealing sensitive details related to physical contact techniques. Production insurance companies required Millan's team to sign additional safety commitment documents, while increasing civil liability insurance premiums many times over. This directly affected the operating cost of each episode, turning a product that once brought high profits into an investment item containing too many risks. These details were reported in detail in Variety, marking the first time the media questioned the sustainability of a business model based on interaction between humans and aggressive animals. The climax of legal troubles occurred in 2016, when Cesar Millan faced a criminal investigation from animal control agencies in Los Angeles County. The cause stemmed from an episode in the series Cesar 911, where a trained shepherd breed dog attacked the ear of a pig being used as part of a behavioral practice exercise. Those images immediately triggered outrage from the online community and animal rights organizations. Authorities conducted searches of Millan's training center to evaluate care and training procedures. In the subsequent concluding report, although the prosecutor's office decided not to prosecute due to lack of specific evidence of intentional abuse, The case still left an indelible stain on Millan's brand image. The 2016 event was not merely a normal legal trouble, but a catalyst that caused the largest advertisers to divest. Multinational corporations that had accompanied the program from the early days announced an indefinite suspension of funding. The shifting attitudes of commercial partners served as a clear reflection of a profound transformation in public sentiment concerning the treatment and use of animals within the realm of television entertainment. Deprived of his vital financial backing, Millan also found himself abandoned by the network, which had effectively acted as his protective shield for years, consistently choosing to prioritize the pursuit of high ratings and advertising revenue over addressing the mounting ethical accusations leveled against his methods. Throughout the years spanning 2012 to 2016, a persistent series of lawsuits surfaced from individuals who contended that Millan's training techniques had not only failed to help, but had actually significantly exacerbated their pets' existing behavioral issues. Although these numerous legal challenges did not consistently result in unfavorable judicial verdicts or criminal convictions, they fundamentally altered the media landscape surrounding his brand. The once untouchable image of Millan, the celebrated hero who could effortlessly resolve any domestic crisis, was permanently dismantled, increasingly replaced in the headlines by reports of contentious legal battles and damaging public scrutiny. This shift in status signaled the end of the golden age of dog whisperer on traditional television platforms. Barriers from the law not only prevented new production ideas, but also created a precedent, making the team's creativity gradually constrained within overly safe templates. These consecutive incidents forced Millan into a period of hiding, where legal troubles were no longer side details, but became the main factor governing every decision in his career. Behind that calculated retreat, however, cracks from behind the scenes could no longer be hidden, ready to erupt into deep personal storms. That was when the door of control started closing, yielding to a mental crisis, smoldering and spreading, threatening directly his fragile psychological foundation. Mental crisis. During the period between 2010 and 2012, as a storm of legal challenges and scientific criticism pushed the program Dog Whisperer into an increasingly precarious position, Cesar Millan's private life was simultaneously suffering from catastrophic fractures. The most significant turning point in this downfall was the passing of his beloved pit bull Daddy in February 2010. Daddy was not merely a pet. He was the central pillar of Millan's entire training architecture, acting as the essential living tool that stabilized the behavior of the aggressive animals featured in nearly every episode. The loss of such a vital direct support system fundamentally altered Millan's working method and shattered his confidence on set, creating a massive visible void in the structural integrity of the show's content that could not be easily disguised. The situation deteriorated rapidly in June 2010, when Illusion Millan, his wife of 16 years, and the primary administrative bedrock behind his early business operations, officially filed for divorce. This marital collapse triggered more than just personal sorrow. It caused complex disputes over assets and custody that fundamentally weakened the internal cohesion of the Cesar Millan brand management machine. Court records from that era revealed deep-seated divisions within his family unit that had been meticulously shielded from public view until that point. Facing the disintegration of a model family, a narrative the media frequently touted as evidence of the very balance Millan claimed to preach, pushed him into a state of profound psychological instability. According to later public disclosures, Millan descended into a period of clinical depression. The crushing weight of maintaining the persona of a calm, unwavering man, regardless of external pressure, while living a reality of total domestic chaos, created a severe cognitive rupture. In 2010, this internal agony culminated in a self-harm incident involving an overdose of sedatives. This was not simply a medical issue, it was a watershed moment that irrevocably altered the trajectory of his professional career. Although this crisis was successfully kept out of the public eye at the time to preserve the brand's integrity, the physical and emotional aftershocks were undeniably evident in his performance. Behind-the-scenes accounts from the 2011 production sessions confirmed that Millan appeared visibly fatigued, frequently struggling with focus, and losing his emotional equilibrium during demanding training sequences. Insiders involved in the show's production reported that the signature calm and assertive energy, previously his most valuable asset, had been largely replaced by a persistent, palpable lethargy. This decline in performance could not be completely hidden by editing, resulting in growing viewer dissatisfaction and complaints regarding the deteriorating quality of the episodes. Millan's mental health crisis laid bare the inherent weaknesses in his methodology. Calmness was no longer a genuine practiced skill, but had instead morphed into a fragile, pressurized shell. This personal collapse effectively dismantled the production unit's long-term development strategy. They found themselves struggling to manage a star who was in a demonstrably unstable mental state, while simultaneously fielding increasingly aggressive inquiries regarding the authenticity of Millan's image. This personal disintegration became the fatal flaw that left the network with no credible defense against mounting accusations that the program was promoting scientifically unsound and potentially harmful training practices. When the primary spiritual guide of an entire training methodology is no longer able to locate balance within his own mind, the television legacy he painstakingly constructed begins an inevitable, irreversible decline. The rifts in his private life were not merely personal tragedies. They were the definitive factors that ensured the Dog Whisperer empire would officially conclude in 2012, terminating a television era that was as divisive as it was compelling. Ultimately, what remained after these events was a Cesar Millan, who was forced to undertake the agonizing process of rebuilding his identity from the ground up, entirely separated from the heavy shadows of the tragedies that once threatened to consume both his life and his career. Reconstruction and lessons. After Dog Whisperer stopped broadcasting in 2012, Cesar Millan did not choose the solution of completely withdrawing from the public, but started a process of career repositioning through direct interaction channels. He shifted toward performing live shows on stage called Cesar Millan Live. There he directly trained dogs from rescue stations right in front of the audience, an effort to affirm the method's effectiveness without the intervention of television post-production. This transition helped Millan regain trust from a segment of loyal fans, simultaneously showing proactivity in adapting to stricter standards regarding animal rights after the reality television era. By 2014, Millan made his return to the television landscape with the program Cesar 911 aired on Nat Geo Wild. The fundamental difference in this series lay in a significant shift in production philosophy. He stepped away from his previous role as an infallible Superman who resolved every crisis, unilaterally choosing instead to integrate his work more transparently and collaboratively with teams of certified behavioral experts and established veterinary organizations. This strategic pivot served as a direct response to the costly, hard-won lessons learned from the series of lawsuits and intense scientific controversies that had plagued his career in the past. By embracing this newfound professional cooperation, Millan not only succeeded in mitigating his legal exposure, but also managed to craft a rejuvenated public persona. He emerged as a trainer who was visibly more open, humble, and prepared to absorb modern, scientifically backed approaches, effectively shedding the rigid, exclusive image that had previously defined his methodology. The strongest transformation took place in 2021, with the birth of the series Better Human, Better Dog. The program's name reflected Millan's complete new thinking, focusing on educating the owner before training the animal. He no longer emphasized imposed power, but shifted toward managing energy emotions and living habits of humans themselves. This change was noted by critics as an inevitable evolution, helping him survive in a media environment where the public increasingly demands higher ethical and social responsibility. Lessons from the 2010 tragedy chain reshaped Millan's training style, transforming him from a person who whispered to dogs into a person who accompanies humans. This process also marked more openness in personal life when Millan started sharing publicly about the journey of overcoming depression and mistakes in the past. He no longer viewed calmness as a performance skill, but viewed it as the result of continuous psychological practice. Reconnecting with family and finding new relationships helped him rebuild the mental anchor lost after the 2010 divorce. These efforts were not just image restoration campaigns, but proof of a true reconstruction process where Millan learned how to separate media fame from personal value. Looking back at the entire journey, from an immigrant with a $1,000 dream to a global star, then falling into crisis, Cesar Millan's story clearly reflects the duality of fame. The end of Dog Whisperer was not just the closing of a television program, but a warning about the price to pay when personal brand is mixed with unsustainable entertainment standards. His existence in the modern media environment shows that adaptability and sincerity in looking back at professional mistakes are the only factors ensuring longevity. After all the breakdowns, Millan's legacy today no longer lies in dramatic performances, but lies in the deep understanding that training animals is essentially a journey of repairing oneself. His journey is proof that success always goes hand in hand with challenges, and true courage is the ability to stand up from failure. If you feel this story brings a fresh perspective on the life of a television legend, hit the like button to support us. Do not forget to share this video to interested people and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss subsequent deep analysis on the world behind the aura.